So what's worse? Is it the new information on Tanki Classic or is it my upload schedule? Well, the answer is neither. Welcome to SHK 17's Month of Gaming, a series where I'll be uploading a new video every other day for the next 30 days. The video could be about Tanki, it could be about Tanki Classic, it could be about any other game. But yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, then subscribe to stay tuned. And this series has a pretty generic name. So I am looking forward to suggestions for, something that's a bit more specific and exciting to say or hear. So if you guys have any suggestions for that, then do let me know in the comments and do write your Tanky Online nickname as well. Because if I do like your suggestion, then I'll be, I'll drop you like 20-25 gold boxes because I do have a lot in my account and, there's nothing else that they can come to use to. So why not? I'm gonna give you guys 25,000 crystals if I like the suggestion. Anyways, moving on to the video, which is that is Tanky Classic gonna be another disaster like Tanky Online? Yes or no? Well, short answer is no. Bye bye. Thank you for watching. But if you want to know the details to that, then well, there's a lot of things that come into this whole concept of why I feel like it's not gonna be that bad, or in fact, it's not gonna be bad at all. So there's a lot of things that come to mind when you just discuss generally the new announcements that have been made regarding this game. So I'll be going over some of the things that I feel like are important one at a time. So let's start off with the fact that Tanky Classic will have Legend as its final rank, or like the biggest rank. So I mean, a lot of people I've seen are not happy with this. Like, generally, they're like, Marshall could have been good, or that other rank, which I will not say because I am most definitely sure that I won't pronounce the name right. A Generalissimo, I'll say it, okay? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but maybe it's correct. Anyways, these ranks I'm not really like in favor of to be like the highest ranks, and there's a good reason behind it. In this video that you see on screen right now, I talked about these things in that video as well. But long story short, I feel like the legend rank is a pretty good way to determine how experienced a player is. Like, let's say for example that there's a person that has been playing since 7 years and there's a person that has been playing since 2 years. So if Marshall is the final rank, then either way both of them are going to be marshals. So there's no way to determine how good of a marshal you are, right? But here's the thing, if there are two legends, then if there's the guy playing since 7 years, then he's going to be like legend 150 or something, and the guy playing since 2 years or 3 years, I'd say he'd be like legend 50 or legend 60 at max. So what happens is that because of this whole difference in legend 150 and legend 50, you can actually tell how experienced a player is, or how much they played compared to like just two people being marshal or two people being generalissimo. So because of that, because of the clarity it provides, I'd say legend is a more suitable rank. And obviously the fact that the more ranks, the more you can grind, and therefore the more motivation that you have to play. So in my opinion, which is probably an unpopular opinion, I don't feel like it's a bad thing that legend is the highest rank. So that is that. Second, there are no micro upgrades. I feel like some people would want micro upgrades to be there, but then again, I feel like them not being there is a good way to not complicate the game. Because understand the fact that one of the main reasons this game came to be not exactly Tanky Classic, but like the old version of Tanky Online that everyone wanted. The reason why it came to be in the first place was because Tanky Online got too complicated, and a lot of people left Tanky Online because it got complicated. So now we want Tanky Classic, which is just a simple game about tanks fighting each other, essentially. There's a lot more to that, but the thing is, the less complications there are in Tanky Classic, the better it is. So that is that. Micro upgrades not being there is actually a good thing, and I feel like most people would agree with this. But now let's move on to something that is a very unpopular opinion, which is that alterations should be in the game. And don't come at me in the comments, alright? First of all, hear me out. I have talked about this before, and here's the thing. In a game which will not be having any major updates in the future, you need different ways to keep yourself entertained. If they give you like 7 hulls, 10 turrets, it's not gonna be enough to keep you entertained for like more than a year. I know maybe people are still gonna be entertained, but that depends on person to person. But you always need new things to try out, especially if you're playing a multiplayer game. So here's the thing, 10 turrets, fine. I love all of them. They're all the OG turrets, and by the way, I did not count. Maybe it's like 12 or 11. I'm not exactly looking at the numbers, but just for the sake of an example, fact is that if you have a limited number of guns or turrets, then altering them and having new ways to play with them is only going to make things more interesting. And if you don't want alterations, just turn the alterations option off and then create a battle. No one's going to stop you from doing that. So, point being that it's always better to have more options than have no options, right? Now, you could argue that Tanky Online is also like that, that there's a lot of options, and that's what makes it complicated. Well, yes, that is true, but here's the thing, Tanky Online has a lot of updates that you cannot avoid. For example, the whole thing about the new HTML physics, that is something that's unavoidable. Similarly, the event modes where Hopper just comes out of nowhere and catches all the gold boxes, that's also unavoidable. So, Tanky, the modern Tanky, kind of pushes you into situations without giving you options. However, if Tanky Classic had that option that keep alterations, don't keep alterations, then that's going to be simple. You can choose to do whatever you want without a lot of complications. And something that's also closely associated with this whole thing about like alterations is overdrives. Now, I'll be really honest, and most of the times I've been honest, I've been receiving criticism. But fact is, overdrives are good, but not the new overdrives. If you want to keep overdrives, just keep the old ones where all supplies are activated, you drop a mine, that's all. Because if you like complicate things with the whole different types of overdrives for light hulls, medium hulls, heavy hulls, it's just gonna make the game more complicated, and again we don't want those complications, and that's as simple as that. So I'll leave it at that. One last thing that I feel like is important to discuss in this regard is the fact that there are those bundles in the Tanky Online, and you purchase those bundles and you can have an early access to the game, and at the same time you can vote on what things to keep in the game and what things to not keep in the game. Now, here's the thing, early access completely fine, keeping a nickname completely fine as well. All of those things, there are no problems. But there is one thing that I particularly am kind of unsure about in this, whole early access thing, which is the idea of voting for updates. And now, here's the thing, I am a non political person here. I do not hate democracy in any way, but voting for updates on whether to keep updates or not keep updates is a pretty risky thing to do, in my opinion, especially in a game where people have very different opinions on things. Like, let's say, for example, I personally want augments or alterations to be in the game. Or rather, just to be fair, just to be clear about this, I don't want augments, I want alterations, and there's a difference. Now, here's the thing, I want alterations, but I'm pretty sure about 60-70% of the people watching this video would disagree with me. But if I purchase that bundle and I vote yes for alterations, then obviously I have the power to alter things in my favor. So maybe the people purchasing the bundles in majority could be the people that don't exactly represent the community but rather represent the minority. You get what I mean? So, voting is not exactly like the best way to go about things. It would be much better if you just like give people voting rights on the basis of opinion, that all right, vote for this and maybe we're going to consider your opinion, rather than just be like, vote and whatever you vote, we're going to do that. And this is one of the things I feel like is being severely overlooked. And everyone is talking about the rebalance, whatever that is. I know what that is, but whatever. Like, there's a lot of things that are being discussed, but I feel like this thing needs more attention to it. Like, genuinely, like, if the majority and the people that are buying the bundles and voting, if there's a difference between them, then you're kind of just letting buyers influence the game that you're probably mostly gonna make for non-buyers. And we've seen this happen before in the game where basically the shop in Tanky Online has dictated what happens to the game next. For example, when the containers first came out in 2017, I believe, they were like pretty well received. Like they were really rare of sorts, and they were like special in a way. Like imagine one container back then and imagine one container today, 8 years later. Wow, it's been 8 years. Anyways, you get the point. Containers lost their value over time. Why did they lose their value over time? Because gradually we set up this trend where buying containers became a thing. So when you have a lot of potential to buy something, obviously it loses value. Let's say I wake up tomorrow and I see a Lamborghini parked in front of every house in the neighborhood. Obviously, that means that the car has lost its value because everyone has it now. It's no longer special. Similarly, what you would consider special back then, let's say opening 10 containers in 2017 was a really big thing. Today, 10 containers is literally nothing because you set up that trend where you obviously lost the value of the thing, but you made it easy to obtain because, again, just one bundle and you're gonna have like 300 of those things in your garage straight away. So that's what happens when things lose value. So my problem right now, I'd say the only thing that has the potential of disrupting this whole good way of Tanky Classic functioning is that the voting process could lead to some bizarre decisions. So the conclusion here is that if any of you watching this video plan to purchase that bundle, which gives you access to vote on what happens to Tanky Classic, then please, before you vote, consult your friends, consult your family, consult your parents, talk to your local psychiatrist, talk to your teachers, talk to your classmates, talk to your university professor, talk to the policeman, talk to anyone that you can before you make that decision, because that is a very important decision, right? So you need to talk to as many people as possible and just use the majority vote for the majority. That's how democracy is supposed to work. So that is my advice to you. And besides that, if you guys like this video, then like it, subscribe for more videos like this, comment what you think about all of this. And by the way, I am open to suggestions for whatever this series should be called. If you guys feel like this name that I already have is good, then let me know. If you guys have any other suggestions, then do give me those along with your nicknames. And if I like that, I'll be dropping you gold boxes. And yeah, that's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.